Hey y'all, we're back and the acrylic has dried. Got the green and the black mountains. I had to make a few corrections, so I hope you'll have to excuse that one. Let me show you the colors we've got for the oils. I usually use Dollar Rowney Georgian oils. I'll show you the colors. Got ivory black. See that real good. You can use any brand that Blick carries. Blick has got a lot of different brands. You may find different brands that you prefer. This is sap green. We have titanium white. And I use about a teaspoon of these. Just a teaspoon on my palette. There's cadmium yellow deep hue. I've got yellow green. Kind of see that? I'm not sure if you can see that too well. Yellow green, the lighter shade of green, and I've got burnt umber, which is a medium brown. It's not a extremely dark brown, but it's about the lighter shade of brown. This is French ultramarine, which is next to phthalo blue. It's sort of a translucent color, and you don't want it to be completely opaque. You want it to be a little translucent so that it's the right shade that you're wanting for your sky and for your water we're going to do in this painting. And I'm going to grab a Bob Ross 1-inch brush, and I use Bob Ross liquid white. That from bobross.com, or you can get that from Blick. I usually prefer Blick. Just get his mediums there. Just got a small amount on the brush, just sort of dipping it in here from time to time. And we want to get a thin layer of the liquid white, and just making a little crisscross strokes, because whenever you paint, you want a thin layer over your acrylics so that you get kind of a shadow of your image, at least. That way you know what you're still painting. You still know what you're painting. It gets that white canvas syndrome out of your mind to get the acrylics on there. And that way it's less intimidating, and you can really perfect what you're doing once you get your basic image on there. Just getting it nice and wet. Bob Ross liquid white. You can also use liquid clear if you want it a little more clear and less of a shadow. If you want more of an image to go by, you can do that. I'm just using the liquid white today. Going over my mountains. Just a thin layer. Some little crisscross strokes. You want to paint the sides and the top and the bottom, unless you really want to frame it, and you know for sure you want to frame it. You don't have to paint the sides in that case, but it really does keep you from having the cost of framing, which is about $125, sometimes $75. It's pretty expensive. It's pretty expensive. Let's get the sides, getting them nice and wet. Way the paint will slide better, and you have more control over what your image is. It also takes a lot less time. Paintings used to be done in days and days at a time. You may prefer that method. That's good too, but I like to get it done in one day or in a few hours and really enjoy a painting. I feel like I've done something that day. I'm just going over the image, and I'll show you this in just a second. It may look like it's not quite on here, like I'm covering up the image, but I'm not. I don't know if you can see the basic shadow. I'll show you the image in just 1 second. Get the sides. Just covering it up and getting it a wet consistency on the canvas. white spot right there. I'm pretty sure you see that. But that's where I'm putting my water. I usually use a white spot there because I'm going to paint a gleam on the water. And the gleam is white. It's where the sun is reflecting off of it. So be sure you get that area too. It can be a little tricky. Set my canvas back. It was scooting forward on me. Bottom corner. So we're painting a scene of Alaska. Alaska is a lot of fun. We had a great time there. A lot of things in Alaska. Got totem poles. It's in a place called Ketchikan. Ketchikan, Alaska is where they have the totem poles and all sorts of, I think they call them hot houses. Hot houses where they go and the tribes meet and have some sort of meeting, I believe. They believe in totem poles. It's pretty interesting. It's very nice pictures that you can take up there. They have grizzly bears. At the highest point, in fact, in Alaska is Denali. It's now called Denali. Used to be Mount McKinley. Switching the name, it was for a politician that they no longer like in Alaska. But he'd never been to Mount McKinley, so they just said, well, maybe he's not a real Alaskan, and they changed the name to Denali, the highest point in North America. I recommend going to Alaska at least once in your life. Beautiful up there, so clean. Their trash cans are so different than ours. Keep out the bears. Bears are prone to going through human rubbish. They go through human rubbish because it's easier. They're a little lazy. So I guess you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. You can see that image of the shadow of our acrylic base. Do that one using the keeping it clean, using the smear technique. You can use the same brush if you want to. Bob Ross Landscaping 1-inch brush. I'm going to go into some French Ultramarine, making a nice blue sky. You get a little crisscross strokes right there. Load both sides of the brush. And when you're painting on a canvas, you want to paint the edges first, the corners. That way, the lighter color that's on your brush the paint will be pulled off, and it will be more of a light blue. And that is to draw the eye inward toward your painting. So it's a little technique, little tip there. Now I'm not painting all of this. This area right here is going to be my clouds, so you can leave out some spots of white. One nice little cloud right there too, I think. One over here. Just get up to the mountains. You can go over the mountains a bit. Just try not to cover them up too much. You lose your shape. Lose the shape of your painting, the whole outline that you're wanting to do. Well, it fades toward the horizon, and it's just like the sky. It gets lighter, and in real life, it gets lighter and lighter toward the horizon. And another little bit of trivia is that the sky is blue because there's so much of the earth that is covered by water, and it reflects off the water and into the sky. I think it's something like 3/4 or 2/3 of the world is water. So that's why the sky is blue. It reflects into the air. And I'm going to set my palette down here. And it makes the sky blue. So you want to go in round circles. and just fluff up your clouds, just pulling some of that white into the blue, and it should have a feathering effect, but you just gently lift upward. Just slight brushing across the canvas. Just lift that upward. I'll hold on to my canvas here so I can paint the top. You may get your fingertips a little dirty here and there, and it's great to keep an old washcloth or an old towel nearby so that you can get that area a little more, so that you can excuse me, so that you can get your fingertips clean every